Hey, welcome back, guys. Hey, I just thought I'd show you this used cam that I picked up. Guy up the road here, well, a half hour up the road anyway. He builds kind of a lot of different engines. He had a cam sitting around. He just didn't have a gear. So it's kind of ironic that my gear my shaft had snapped. Therefore, we thought sure as shit the gear had spun on the shaft, and no, heck, it hadn't moved at all. It had just vibrated back somehow. So we took and pulled the little Woodruff key out of it, and he had that camshaft laying there. He says, "Yeah, if you got a Woodruff key and bring your gear, hell, I'll press it on there for you quick, and I'll even weld it up." So he did pretty decent job welding on it for me. God, I can't even talk tonight. So there's our little Woodruff key, and like I said, it had not sheared, which is, man, nobody's ever heard of that before. It just had somehow vibrated the shaft back or the gear out. Either way, I suppose it could be driving it because these gears are a tapered cut. There you can kind of see the taper. But anyway, it's a used cam, but man, it's in very good shape. I was inspecting all the lobes, and it's got the little indication right there where it's, machined down farther than the lifter rides on all of them. So she's a pretty good cam yet. There's the exhaust lobe, looking pretty good. He didn't know the exact miles that the engine had on it, but man, what the heck, for being right close and ready to go. So we were pretty fortunate to have a cam to shove right back in it, because I did not want to leave with these all sitting here. There's the dowels I was telling you guys about. I've got them zip tied together, so it's kind of pulling on each one. I don't have it in all the way yet. We've got it all the way back to about here. Now I'm being very careful not to bump those. And I've got to get the fuel pump, the little mechanical pump that runs off the cam. It's sitting in the way at the moment, so I've got to reach back in there and pull it out of the way and finish shoving the cam in. But there it is. Here's what we're doing. I'm gonna get that shoved in there quick before one of those back ones decides to fall down. Morning, everybody. We gotta go load this guy with hay that wanted me to hold it for him. He finally showed up this morning while I was in town. Well, he got here about the same time I did. He's got a pretty neat rig. I figured he was coming with a semi because he wants 40 bales and 2 loads of 20. I figured, man, he must have a small trailer. Check out this rig. An F550 with a 40-foot flatbed trailer. What a rig. He sure got me beat. I don't think I'd want to try hauling 20 bales on these hills down here. That'd just be too much. Well, he wants me to start on the back, so that's why I'm back here. Whew. I don't think I'd want to haul that many. These hills are nasty. Well, now we'll head back. Progress that motor put back together. Okay, I got the front cover back on. Just got to adjust my tack sensor. She's still loose. But now we can start pulling the push rod holder thingies back out of there. These little wooden dowels. You can pull them back out, and we're going to have to get the hole drilled out for that guy right there. So hopefully that's not going to be a terrible, difficult deal. I picked up a right angle drill from a friend of mine, and he's had to drill these out before. He says this right angle drill is the best way to do it. So hopefully it won't be too big a trouble. Obviously we're going to have to get those wooden dowels pushed out, get some rag stuffed in around, get everything wiped up that'll stick to any metal so we don't get any chips potentially stuck in there. And then when we go to start drilling, we're going to lube up the grease bit and grease the drill bit, and I get a vacuum over here sucking out any chips that might get down in there. Okay, so There's our hole. We got our stuff full of rags. So hopefully nothing will fall down in behind in any of the ports or over here. And I also filled my drill bit with grease down the flutes. And we had the vacuum going, and it's got a lot of suction power. I suck the nozzle right here, so that way any chips coming out would potentially go into the vacuum. Now, here's the tool that I borrowed, and I went and got a drill bit, but it was way too long, so I ended up cutting the drill bit, and I was going to use the factory end, but I couldn't get the back end of it to fit in the chuck and be straight. So I'm going to get that set there. I couldn't get, so here's the bit. I cut this much off of it. I couldn't get this end of the other bit to chuck up. So then I had to take and kind of put a point back on this cutoff end enough to drill. And it wasn't fancy, but she did drill. So the next up was to get the tap out and the helicoil. And you can see again, I filled it with, some grease so that it would catch all the chips. And she's done a pretty good job. Come on, focus. There we go. So I think we're okay that way. I'm going to clean this tap up and run it back in there one more time. Make sure it pulls out any more chunks. Focus, damn it. Anyway, so that's that. Hopefully we're good to go. Grab a rag and a brake cleaner. Clean this thing up a little bit. Were any of you guys paying attention when I drilled this hole back here yesterday for my rocker stud? I mean, everything worked good. We got the tap in there and got the threads cut, got the helicoil put in. Everything's fine, except the bolt next to it there is the one that's supposed to go in that hole. That's not the right thread. So I completely screwed up. That is the wrong size. That's supposed to be an 8mm hole, and I drilled it out for a 10mm. Yeah, so I fucked up. So I'm attempting to remedy this. I'm hoping what I can do, I've already started getting the helicoil back out of there. Hoping what will work okay is the next style of thread repair, which is called a thread insert, which is what this is. So this I got from Menards. There's several companies that make them, but Menards was handy and had it on hand. So that takes a 1/2 by 13 hole, and it's got some thread sealant type stuff on there, which is fantastic. But it goes right down to an 8mm bolt, and that's what I need. So I'm gonna have to drill that hole just a wee bit bigger, not much, just a wee bit bigger. And I found some short bits in there at Menards. Unfortunately, it's not short enough. I'm gonna have to cut it just a little bit because I won't allow the drill to come in there straight. It's at an angle. So I'm gonna have to cut the bit, resharpen it, go from there, and then we'll tap it for 1/2 inch hole, 1/2 inch by 13 standard thread. And I hope that doesn't cause a problem with these current threads, because it's gonna be god dang close. Might be such that I should throw some epoxy or something in there. I don't know, we'll have to see, because those that insert has thread stuff on it, so maybe it'll be okay, but man, it's gonna be close. I don't know what I was thinking, guys. Yeah, we were doing good. We got the hole drilled, got the thread cutter put in there, helicoil put in, and yeah, I completely screwed that up, so bear with me here. Okay, so I went ahead and threaded it. The tap that I have is not a bottom tap, so it's just a nice cone taper. Where is that thing? I just had it. Oh, it's over here. So the threads look pretty good in there. Unfortunately, though, I can't get very deep in the hole. So let me use a screwdriver for reference. I can get about this deep in the hole before I'm hitting the bottom with my cone. So I need just a little bit more. I went ahead and ran that thing down in the hole, and it's sticking up about 2 threads. Which, I mean, it would work, except it's sticking up. You know, it's deep enough, so it's going in about to the edge of that last rib right there. And that's not much any different than what the bolt sticks down. The bolt only sticks in 10 millimeters. And that's about how deep we are there. I've got more room in the bottom of the hole, but I can't get the tap any deeper. So I'm going to run into Fastenal real quick and get a bottom tap that should allow me to thread a little deeper into the hole without hitting the cone. And then we can stick that whole thing in there. Now I could just grind the top of that off because there's no threads in the top of that anyway. And we could put a jam nut on the bolt to run this down in there. That would alleviate the problem. But I only have one of these. I should have picked up a couple of them so I could screw around with it. But if I go get a bottom tap, then we could run that thing in just a little bit deeper. Make me feel better. Okay, so better yet, what we decided to do, I got that thing stuck inside a 1/2-inch nut, because that's what thread the outside is. I went ahead and ground those off, because with that little bit of flat spot that was there to use the tool to drive this little thing in, that was removing some of the ability of the bolt to grab threads. So there was like 2 millimeters of bolt sticking through that was not going to be on any threads, and I thought, well shit, it's only sticking in 10 millimeters anyway, so let's just get some full threads on it. So there's what she looks like without the little T-bar on top for driving it in. Now we'll just use the bolt to set it down in there where she needs to be, because it's only going to go in a little ways anyway. This way we can have threads right flush with the top of the head like it's supposed to be. And most of that sealant or whatever the heck was on there came off within the first pass for running it in the hole anyway, so we're going to find some thread locker to stick in there and make sure she didn't come loose. So there's a bottoming tap. So you can see the difference right there on how much more threads you can get down in the hole, because it's got just a tiny bit of a taper instead of that long nose taper, which these are good for starting a hole and getting the hole straight and centered with your, getting the threads anyway, straight with your hole. But if you want to get to the bottom of your hole with threads, you're gonna need one of these. So that gives me just a few more threads that we can reach down in there. Okay, and now that we've got her ground off without that little slot in the top, I put the jam nut on and ran her down in there, and she looked good. So I put this epoxy, I guess it's not epoxy, it's a thread locker, and it's called Anti-Vibe. Can you read it? There we go. High strength. So it said right on the package there at the parts store that that's for stuff that you don't want to come back apart. So hey, I don't want that thing to come back apart. That's what we're going for. All right, now let's check our crossover. Set that on top. Throw our bolts in it and see if our hole is lined up. There, that one started. Now here's the test. Look at that. That one's going right in. Boom, baby. Hey, I think we're good, guys. She's nice and flush. It's sitting down against the head just tight. So I think we are back in business. So I've got to look online. That little thread locker doesn't have anything on it for cure time. In fact, it's pretty vague. It doesn't have much on it at all. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't have anything on it for cure time, but I think we probably better let it sit overnight anyway before we go packing a bunch more stuff on it. So, whew. The old saying goes, well, you're one broken bolt away from a freaking nightmare. Well, that's kind of what happened with this turd. Everything was going great. Got everything going, got the new cam in it, or got the other cam in it, and started drilling and had a good time there with the helicoil, and boom, oh fuck, it's the wrong fucking one. Jesus Christ. Well, I think natural disaster is averted for now. So, not much left to do to this guy. We just got to put the push rods and rockers and get everything timed back up for the valve clearance, and then put her back on. Man, I feel better now. Yesterday, after finding out I put the wrong hole in there, I was sure twisted gut. Well, anyway, I think that'll be it for this video. It's been long enough, guys. Thanks for coming along and watching my video, and let me know if I got you guys scared with that broken bolt or the wrong hole size as well, if you would. You guys know what to do. Don't forget to give me a good thumbs up and share if you would, please, and subscribe. Until the next video, thanks for watching. Catch you later.